Today I want to present about introduction of demand and supply. First of all, I want to start about demand. Demand is defined when there are people who demand goods and service in economy. Demand refers to effective demand. Demand is different from desire, want, wish and like. A customer and consumer who wish to have a own product or service must have the ability to purchase and be willing to pay for the good or service. Demand is also defined as the number of different goods or service desired by the buyer. They can buy the product at a price that may vary over a certain period of time, ceteris paribus. For example, if demand for a product or item increase, the quantity request for the product will decrease. This is because the price and quantity demand have an inverse relationship. It is about a law of demand. The law of demand states that when the price of a good itself increases, the quantity demand for the good will fall, and vice versa. Individual demand refers to demand of good and service from the buyer. Now we continue to supply. Supply is defined as the manufacturer willingness and availability to supply a wide range of goods and service with different price possibility and time range, ceteris paribus. The law of supply states that when the price of good or product itself increase, the quantity supply for the good will increase. When the price of the good decrease, the quantity supply will decrease. The law of supply show a positive relationship between a quantity supply and the price of the good itself. The law is only true by assuming other factors influencing supply are had concern, such as only the price of the good itself change. As for the labor supply curve, however, the law of supply is avoided after a certain level of wage rate, and quantity supply will be inversely related to price. Individual supply refer to supply of goods and service from a seller. That's all about the introduction of demand and supply. Now we continue to next presenter.
Theory of demand. Demand can be defined as the desire, willingness, and abilities of customer to buy a product or service at different range price in given period of time. Law of demand. When the price goes up, the quantity demand goes down. When the price goes down, the quantity demand goes up. Individual demand and market demand. Individual demand can be referred as demand curve of product or service for single customer, while market demand refer to the total of customer demand in a particular market. Can you imagine there is a situation when there is a customer A and customer B. Customer A demand for 20 products, while customer B demand for 10 products. So the market demand for this situation is 30 products. Determinants of demand. There are several factors can affect the demand. One of them is economic condition. When economy grow rapidly, the purchase power of people will be higher. And then consumer income. People with higher income will make an increase in demand. Next, festival seasons. The demand will be increased along the festival. Okay, for example, festival Chinese New Year. When Chinese New Year, the demand of the Mandarin lemon will increase. Last but not least, advertisement. The more advertisement displays, it will increase the demand of the product.
Next, we go to the theory of supply. Supply is defined as the desire and ability of the firm to sell or produce a different product in a given period of time at a particular price. There have two types of supply, which is individual supply and market supply curve. The individual supply is defined as the supply of goods from a single seller, while the market supply curve is defined as the more than one of the seller in one market. Next, we go to the supply schedule. Supply schedule is defined as the list of the amount of the product that seller sells to the customer with a different price in the time period. Other than that, we go to the law of supply. The law of supply have a positive relationship between the price of the goods and the quantity of supply. For example, if the price of the flour increase, it means the quantity of the flour also will be increased. While if the price of the flour decrease, the quantity of the flour also will be decreased. In supply also have a change in quantity supply and change in supply. The change in quantity supply will happen because of the price of the goods will change itself, while the change in supply will happen because of the relevant factor.
Now I want to continue about the determinant of supply. Supply for the product or goods is influenced by many factors that determine the change in supply. First is price of the good itself. When the price of an item change, the quantity supply will also change. This will cause the movement along the supply curve to remain the same. But for the price does not give anything change to the supply curve. Next is cost and availability of the factor of production. This will happen if there is an increase in the amount of salary. It will affect the increase in production cost, while the supply profit will reach a decrease, thus reducing the supply of goods and moving the entire supply curve to the left. Next is change in the price of related goods. It have a two types. The first is good in joint supply or complementary goods. Joint supply or complementary goods refer to goods which are supplied at the same time. Second is good in competitive supply or substitute goods. The compilation of the supply of goods will achieve a decrease in the event of an increase in the price on the device good. Next is a level of technology. Higher and efficient technology allow us to reduce the quantity of resources used for the product to the right. Next is government or economy policy. The government policy have two options, namely taxation and subsidy. Every item that is taxed, this is the main factor in the increase in the cost production, thus affecting the profit earned. A drop in supply occur the supply curve will shift to the left. The subsidies serve to give or encourage manufacturers to produce more goods and products. This makes the supply increase. Here, curve supply will shift to the right. Next factor, producer expectation of future price. If the future manufacturer of a smartphone increase, the supply will supply less now because it will reduce the supply of the phone. That's an example of produce expectation of future price. And the last factor is number of supply. With more supply, more output can be produced in the market. Supply will increase and therefore the supply curve move by moving to the right. That's all from me about determinants of supply, and thank you.
Demand for smartphone and laptop during COVID-19. Demand for smartphone and laptop are increased because the government order citizens to stay at home and start work from home. Okay, and then while for students, they need to use method online distance learning, which called as ODM. As a result, the demand of smartphone and laptop become higher because people need them to do work and for learning. There has been an increase in quantity demand, but the price also increased. Okay, the factor that contributed to the price hike is because the increasing in shipping costs during global pandemic. Other than that, the other factor is nationwide have a shortage for IT products. So that's the causes the price of laptop and smartphone has increased as a result of pandemic COVID-19.
Next, we go to the supply of smartphone and laptop in the practical. During the COVID-19, the supply of smartphone and laptop will be increased. It is mean the price of the smartphone and laptop also will be increased. It's because during the COVID-19, people need a smartphone and laptop to do their activities, which is for the parents, they need to work from home, while for the children, they need to join a class. Next, after all people get their smartphones and laptop, the supply of smartphone and laptop will be decreased. It means the price of the smartphone and laptop also will be decreased.
Smartphone and laptop have become one of the necessary items for every individual since government introduced online learning and work from home during pandemic COVID-19. The Malaysian economy has faced several economic problems such as the decrease and increase of demand and supplies due to different factors. For the gadget industry such as smartphone and laptop, the quantity of demand for smartphone and laptop has increased due to the existence of online learning and work from home during pandemic COVID-19. The suppliers has taken the opportunity to raise prices for smartphone and laptop due to its high demand. The quantity demanded for smartphone and laptop will also change as the price increase by suppliers and the decrease in quantity demand will occur. Thus, the demand and supply of smartphone and laptop during the COVID-19 pandemic has increased compared to before the existence of this COVID-19 outbreak. Furthermore, when the global economic scenario is uncertain due to this COVID-19 contagion, it has a very worrying impact on all parties. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there are several factors that cause the shift in the demand and supply curve. Factors influencing the shift of the demand curve are consumer income, prices of related goods, and government policy, socio and economic conditions. Meanwhile, factors influencing the shift of the supply curve are number of suppliers, level of technology, and changes in the price of related goods. Many communities were affected during this pandemic, especially the low-income group, namely the B40 and M40 groups. We hope that the government will provide more assistance to the affected communities so that they can alleviate their financial problems. We also hope that the spread of COVID-19 can be reduced and can help the Malaysian economy to gradually recover and stabilize. Hoping that every community can face the COVID-19 pandemic by complying with standard operating procedure SOP set by the government. That's all from us. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Thank you so much.